Welcome back to the Alternate History channel, your gateway to the enthralling what-ifs of history. Last week we explored the intriguing scenario of what if President William McKinley survived his second term, unraveling the threads of a history untold. This week we continue our journey through the early 20th century with another pivotal question. What if Teddy Roosevelt's assassination attempt had been successful? Theodore Roosevelt, a colossus of progressivism and a defining force in American and global affairs, miraculously survived an assassin's bullet in 1912. But what if fortune had not favored him that day? How would the fabric of American history and the tapestry of international relations have been altered? As we delve into this speculative narrative, we invite you to join us in imagining a world reshaped by the absence of one of its most dynamic leaders. Don't forget to engage with us, like, subscribe, and share your insights in the comments below. Let's embark on a journey to uncover how a single moment could have diverted the river of history. Theodore Roosevelt's presidency, which began in 1901 following the assassination of William McKinley, marked a significant period in American history. Roosevelt, the youngest president in US history at the time, was a dynamic force whose policies and personality reshaped the American presidency. He was a champion of progressive reform, advocating for the regulation of monopolies, the conservation of natural resources, and a more assertive foreign policy which he famously summed up as "speak softly and carry a big stick." Under Roosevelt, the United States saw the enforcement of the Sherman Antitrust Act with the breakup of powerful monopolies, including the Northern Securities Company. His commitment to conservation led to the creation of the United States Forest Service and the establishment of numerous national parks and wildlife refuges. On the international stage, Roosevelt's efforts in negotiating the end of the Russo-Japanese War earned him the Nobel Peace Prize, while his role in facilitating the construction of the Panama Canal underscored his vision of American leadership in global affairs. However, our focus shifts to a moment of what if in 1912. A pivotal year when Roosevelt, having served 2 terms as president and then stepping down, decided to run for office again as a candidate of the newly formed Progressive Party, also known as the Bull Moose Party. This was a period of intense political rivalry, with Roosevelt challenging not just the Republican incumbent William Howard Taft, but also the Democratic contender Woodrow Wilson. The key moment that could have altered American and possibly world history occurred on October 14, 1912, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Roosevelt was scheduled to give a speech when John Schrank, a disturbed saloon-keeper, shot him in the chest. The bullet, though slowed by the manuscript of his speech and a metal glasses case, still penetrated Roosevelt's chest. But remarkably, he went on to deliver his speech, famously declaring, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." Imagine, however, if the assassination attempt had been successful. The immediate impact would have been profound. The sudden martyrdom of Roosevelt could have galvanized the Progressive Party, potentially altering the outcome of the 1912 election. Without Roosevelt's larger-than-life presence, the dynamics of American politics and policy directions, particularly regarding progressive reforms and foreign policy stances, would have faced a significant turning point. This pivotal change at the dawn of the Progressive era could have reshaped the trajectory of the 20th century, influencing not just domestic policy, but also America's role on the world stage. Without Roosevelt, the Progressive Party, also known as the Bull Moose Party, faces a crucial test. The vacuum created by his absence could prompt a figure like Senator Robert M. La Follette, a prominent progressive in his own right, to assume leadership. La Follette's emphasis on anti-monopoly policies, labor rights, and electoral reforms might resonate with Roosevelt's base, possibly consolidating the Progressive Party's influence. This shift could either splinter the Republican vote further or, conversely, unite progressives and moderate Republicans disillusioned with Taft, fundamentally altering the election's dynamics. Woodrow Wilson, the Democratic candidate, would face a different opponent in La Follette, potentially reshaping his campaign strategies and policies in response. In Roosevelt's absence, progressive reforms could take a divergent path. With La Follette or another progressive leader at the helm, initiatives like the Federal Reserve System, the Clayton Antitrust Act, and the Federal Trade Commission might be introduced with different priorities or timelines. The urgency to address economic inequalities and corporate monopolies could intensify, leading to early and perhaps more radical legislative efforts to regulate industries and protect workers' rights. Roosevelt's big stick diplomacy underscored his foreign policy, marked by assertiveness and engagement. Without his influence, the US might adopt a more cautious approach on the world stage. Key moments, such as the negotiation of the Panama Canal Treaty and the US intervention in the Dominican Republic, could see less assertive American involvement. This could lead to a shift in how the US is perceived globally, affecting its emerging role as a world power in the prelude to World War I. Roosevelt's assassination could either fragment the progressive movement or galvanize it around a new figure. The sense of martyrdom might unify disparate groups under a shared cause, invigorating the push for reforms with renewed vigor. This could lead to a stronger, more cohesive movement that might influence American politics more profoundly, advocating for changes not only in economic and labor policies, but also in social issues like women's suffrage and education reform. The shock and mourning following Roosevelt's death would ripple through American society, potentially affecting the national psyche. Roosevelt was seen as a symbol of American vitality and progress. His loss could engender a period of introspection and debate about national identity and priorities. This cultural shift might influence artistic and literary expressions, with themes of heroism, sacrifice, and the role of leadership becoming prevalent in the cultural discourse of the time. The early consolidation of progressive ideals due to Roosevelt's martyrdom catalyzes a more rapid implementation of social reforms and regulatory frameworks. By the mid-20th century, America emerges as a beacon of progressive governance, with earlier and more comprehensive social welfare systems, labor protections, and antitrust regulations. This shift influences global political ideologies, inspiring movements worldwide towards more equitable governance structures. The Progressive Party, or its ideological successors, remains a significant force in American politics, leading to a tripartite political system that challenges the traditional two-party dynamic well into the 21st century. Without Roosevelt's aggressive foreign policy stance, the United States adopts a more isolationist position in the early 20th century. This reticence alters the course of World War I, with the US entering the conflict later or possibly maintaining a stance of neutrality. The delayed involvement of the United States on the global stage leads to a different configuration of power post-World War I, potentially affecting the Treaty of Versailles and the League of Nations' efficacy. By mid-century, however, the US emerges as a leader in peacekeeping and international cooperation, leveraging its economic power and moral authority to mediate conflicts and support global initiatives. Roosevelt's passion for conservation becomes a martyr's legacy, inspiring a global movement towards environmental protection from the early 20th century. The United States leads the charge in establishing national parks, wildlife refuges, and environmental protection laws decades ahead of our timeline. This early commitment to conservation sparks a worldwide effort to combat environmental degradation, climate change, and the loss of biodiversity. By the 21st century, the global community is more united in its approach to sustainable living and environmental stewardship, with significant advancements in green technology and renewable energy sources. In this alternate world, the absence of Theodore Roosevelt at a critical juncture in history sets the stage for a century defined by progressive governance, a more cautious approach to international engagement, and a profound commitment to environmental conservation. These changes underscore the butterfly effect of historical events, illustrating how the loss of a single leader can echo through the annals of time, reshaping the world in ways unimaginable. As we draw the curtains on this alternate narrative, the shadow of a world without Theodore Roosevelt in 1912 casts a long reflection on the intricate mosaic of history. Our journey through this what-if scenario has unveiled the vast ripples that the absence of a single influential figure could send across the political, social, and environmental landscapes of the globe. From the initial shockwave of such an event, to the profound shifts in the course of global affairs and the stewardship of our planet, this exploration underlines the interconnectedness of historical events and the indelible marks they leave behind. Through this speculative odyssey, we've glimpsed a world where the swift advancement of social reforms, the redirection of international conflicts, and a heightened dedication to conservation might have taken root in the wake of Roosevelt's hypothetical demise. It's a poignant reminder of the profound impact that visionary leaders can exert on the fabric of history. Thank you for embarking on this speculative journey with us on the Alternate History channel. If this dive into the what-ifs of history has piqued your interest, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this video. We're eager to hear your thoughts, insights, and suggestions for future episodes. Drop us a comment below. And if you're curious about how other historical turning points could have unfolded, check out our previous episode, What If President William McKinley Survived His Second Term? Click the link on your screen to continue unraveling history's intriguing possibilities. Until our next adventure, stay curious and keep exploring the endless what-ifs that history presents.